But we have made it very clear, and the president has made it clear, we're not kicking people off that qualify for Medicare and Medicaid coverage. We're just getting rid of the waste and fraud. You can read it yourself. Dana, I bet you have read it, and you can't find where we're reducing coverage for anybody. We are simply kicking the waste and fraud out of the Medicaid and Medicare system.
Just because someone was taking advantage of something that another authority had granted them, the Biden administration extended continuous eligibility via Section 1115 waivers. Under Biden, CMS approved Section 1115 demonstration amendments for multiple states like Colorado, Hawaii, Minnesota, New York, and Pennsylvania that guarantee continuous Medicaid eligibility, especially for children and those exiting incarceration. This prevents individuals from losing Medicaid mid-year due to income fluctuations or procedural hiccups, directly countering the DBB bill's potential work requirements or tightened eligibility. So they are taking Medicaid coverage away from individuals. Do not let him lie to you like this. Markwayne Mullin is fucking stupid. I'm just gonna put that there right now. The guy that she's gonna talk to here is a literal brain dead fucking rock of a human being. He's got two first names, just like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights.
The National Guard troops to California amid protests over his immigration raids. Just the latest huge development in a week that saw the president having a big falling out with the person who was his closest political ally, the richest man in the world. Here with me now is another Trump close ally, Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma. Senator, thank you so much for being here. Starting with what's happening in California,
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. The last time the National Guard was federalized was 1992 during the LA riots. Then it was done at the governor's request. In fact, the president hasn't unilaterally federalized the National Guard since LBJ sent troops to Alabama in 1965 to protect civil rights marchers. That's according to the Brennan Center. So my question for you is, why does this situation justify the president bypassing California's governor entirely?
Well, you got two issues here. You have a very weak, lawless, bleeding governor and Governor Newsom, who's not enforcing the nation's laws. And then you had a Biden administration for the last 4 years that didn't enforce our immigration laws, which is why we need to pass this one big, beautiful bill so we can secure our border and focus on getting these illegals out of the country. Regardless of what they may be doing right now, they entered the country illegally, and therefore they are illegal and they are criminals and they need to be deported. And I don't know why a governor would want to try to protect illegal activity inside a state.
I so called this earlier in a different video, a completely different video. This is the sort of go-to MAGA talking point. It's that, well, why do liberals want to try and keep, illegal, why do they want to promote illegal activity? Why do they want to, keep illegal gang members, rapists in our country, blah, blah, blah. Again, if you pay attention to the evidence, if you truly look at who has been the target of deportations from this insanely aggressive, shadow military version of ICE, that I don't think we've ever seen ICE be this aggressive in all my days in the United States. And I'm in my 30s now, so I've seen, a number of years of, just on through news and whatnot of what immigration and enforcement looks like. And this is the most aggressive, the most insane I've ever seen it. These people are basically, operating like they're Walmart black ops is all they fucking are. A bunch of tactical nerds who just wanted to go out and play cop. When you show up to someone's community and you are wearing military balaclava, when you're wearing the headsets, when you have the glasses and a helmet, the all the other riot gear, when you have, whether it be riot control weapons like I see some paintball guns and shit, or whether you have tear gas canisters that you're firing on people, you are the one escalating. Okay, you are the one escalating. So when you get lashback from the community that says we don't fucking want you here, that is to be expected. And that does not justify use of the National Guard. It does not justify use of the Insurrection Act or invoking martial law.
And the president has made it very clear. If the governor or the mayor of the city isn't willing to protect the citizens of his state or the city, then the president will. The American people elected him to restore the law and order back to our streets, and that's why murders are down. That's why people are optimistic.
You can hear it in his voice. He is nervous as hell. He is not confident in any of these talking points because I think he knows that they're bullshit
Today about the future of our country, and that's why we need to continue this step by passing one big, beautiful bill.
Senator, the LA County Police say that they have it under control. And Governor Newsom says sending National Guard.
Right?
Governor Newsom says that the National Guard, at least sending them, is purposely inflaming and will only escalate tensions there.
It absolutely is.
Well, words are cheap, especially when you got video. And so you asked me, did it look like it was or I'll ask you, did it look like it was under control? It doesn't. It is absolutely not in control. You saw rioters throwing rocks, throwing fireworks, being extremely aggressive towards not just federal agents, but even the county and the local PD that was there. So does it look like it's under control? Absolutely not. The difference between what you're seeing during the riots back in, 96? I forget what year
92.
that was, to what we are today. 92 to where we are today is that the governor was actually working with the president of the United States. Now you have a governor that isn't. And once again, California became basically a sanctuary state, and the American people don't want that. And that's why President Trump is pushing really hard for us to pass this bill.
How did the state of California vote when it came to President Trump? Pretty overwhelmingly voted for Kamala, did they not? Well, I think that if you're arguing for California, maybe look at how California swung in the vote to know to before you assess how you think the state of California feels. This guy's a stupid fucking idiot. His arguments are always the worst. They're always very easy to debunk. So that's one of the reasons I watched this video, is because I knew whatever facade of an argument he puts up is just going to be easy to tear down. Dana Bash probably will do a better job than even me on it,
because it will secure the border and we can start deporting these illegals. I mean, think about this. They were
that's if CNN feels like letting her push back, which I doubt.
Literally out there protesting, carrying a foreign flag. That is absolutely insane. I mean, they're not just peaceful protesters. These are illegals. These are exactly why.
So, Mr. Mark Wayne, when you saw the very same thing happening at the Capitol on January 6th, where Confederate flags in some cases were being used, the Confederate battle flag was definitely being brandished that day at the Capitol on January 6th of 2021. And when the National Guard was not called, would you have condemned this the very same? I highly doubt it.
The president is trying to secure our border.
All right. Well, carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know.
Obviously.
And I just want to be clear.
I just want to be flag while you're attacking law enforcement. It's pretty bad.
That's a different.
Confederate battle flag while you're attacking law enforcement is also pretty bad, Mark Wayne. I know this is a whataboutism, but Republicans don't have standards, and they will reveal this double standard any fucking time that you can find a very clear-cut example of people who you could argue are on the left. I wouldn't even say that this is like a left-leaning or democratic movement to begin with. What's happening in Los Angeles, it's more of a pro-immigration type of stance, where it's like, no, we want these people in our communities. We do not want you, ICE, to come into our community and remove these individuals, especially without due process, without proving that these people are violent criminals in some way, shape, or form. That is the issue that is the issue at hand. That is what the people of Los Angeles are fighting back against. The people at January 6th were trying to literally fucking steal an election. They were trying to steal an election that had been decided 2 months prior and had numerous court proceedings rejected because there was no standing that they had. There's zero evidence that the election in 2020 was even remotely close to being stolen. They've never been able to prove that, rather, regardless of how many times they've tried, right? This is obviously something that is a very different issue at the core of why these people are resisting federal law enforcement. And, I point out just how egregious it is because of the hypocrisy. It's exposing hypocrisy. It's not even a whataboutism. It's literally just, this guy is a hypocrite and a piece of shit and a fucking idiot, like I keep saying.
Different question, but I just want to just state for the record that what did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot that went all across the city of Los Angeles after a verdict in the Rodney King case. This is a situation where the LA County Police,
Dana,
it's not good, but they're saying that they have it under control, and the president is sending national troops, federal troops, in a way that
we can look at this and we can obviously
time.
see that it is not under control. It's not under control. You and I both can see that. It's not under control. And a riot,
just because they're throwing fucking firecrackers and shit, this guy's such a dipshit.
Is a riot. They're throwing all types of objects at law enforcement, and the president is absolutely right. I can't say this enough. This is why the American people elected President Trump, because we are moving in the right direction, and we are laser focused on continuing to do that, and that is why we want to pass this big piece of legislation that is going to move the American people even farther down the track and getting us back on track and getting us away from the disastrous policies of the Biden administration.
So let's talk about that bill, sir. You're talking about the very important piece of the president's agenda, his big legislation that is before you in the Senate right now. There are several Senate Republicans, your GOP colleagues, who say that they're concerned that the Medicaid cuts in the bill will jeopardize funding for rural hospitals. Almost 1 in 4 people in your state of Oklahoma rely on Medicaid. The head of the Oklahoma Hospital Association says that these cuts could lead to some hospitals failing or forcing them to scale back services they provide. Does that concern you?
Let's talk about what we're actually doing, because Bernie Sanders and the Democrat Party, they're absolutely lying about us kicking people off.
These are Republicans, not Bernie Sanders.
People off that deserve that. Hold on. We're not talking about people that deserve and qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. What we're doing is,
if they don't deserve or they don't qualify for it, then how are they on it? How are they on it, Mr. Mark Wayne?
Getting rid of the waste and fraud. There's over 6 million people on Medicaid right now that do not qualify underneath current policies. They didn't qualify underneath the Biden policies, but yet the Biden administration allowed them to come on, and they're robbing Medicaid blind, and therefore it's almost becoming unsustainable for those that actually deserve it. Anybody that qualifies for Medicaid, they're not going to see a reduction in benefits. They're not going to see a reduction in coverage. All we're doing is removing the people that are frauding the American taxpayers out of health care. That's it. And no one can say anything different. President Trump has made it very clear we're not reducing or cutting Medicaid benefits.
But Senator, a lot of Republicans
have said the same thing. We're removing the waste and fraud.
Senator, I'm sorry, a lot of Republicans who you serve with, who are like-minded in many ways, they don't agree with you. They're reading the same bill and they say, we believe that there are people in our state who will get hurt because of these cuts. They will get kicked off of Medicaid, or at least their benefits will be diminished.
I have talked to Josh Hawley, who is very outspoken about this. I got a great relationship with Josh. Josh is doing exactly what he should be doing. He's protecting to make sure that those that need it are protected from it. There's nothing wrong with him questioning the bill. The fact is, you can't point to anyone that's losing coverage that deserves and qualifies for the care. But he's being very cautious, and I respect him for doing that. But we have made it very clear, and the president has made it clear, we're not kicking people off that qualify for Medicare and Medicaid coverage. We're just getting rid of the waste and fraud. You can read it yourself. Dana, I bet you have read it, and you can't find where we're reducing coverage for anybody. We are simply kicking the waste and fraud out of the Medicaid and Medicare system that are literally.
This is an annoying framing, because fraud is you can't just claim someone has committed fraud without it's like there's a legal threshold for fraud. It's like, I don't know, someone stepped on my pet spider, so he's a murderer because he took a life. It was premeditated. He waited for the spider to he created a situation where the spider was out of its cage and on the floor, and he stepped on it. Premeditated murder, whatever. No jury, no court is going to find that someone's guilty of murder, maybe another crime. But no one's going to find you guilty of murder for killing someone's pet spider. As tragic as that may be for the pet owner there. You can't just because someone was taking advantage of something that another authority had granted them. The Biden administration extended continuous eligibility via Section 1115 waivers. Under Biden, CMS approved Section 1115 demonstration amendments for multiple states like Colorado, Hawaii, Minnesota, New York, and Pennsylvania that guarantee continuous Medicaid eligibility, especially for children and those exiting incarceration. This prevents individuals from losing Medicaid mid-year due to income fluctuations or procedural hiccups, directly countering the DBB bill's potential. DBB? I don't know. Bill's potential work requirements or tightened eligibility. So they are taking Medicaid coverage away from individuals. Do not let him lie to you like this. There are people who currently have Medicaid coverage. Granted, it may not be in a codified manner, but it's not illegal. It's not fraud. What the fuck?
Robbing the taxpayers of the American people.
Okay. I mean, if this passes the way it does, I would be interested in coming back to you and talking to you about what happens in the rural hospitals in your state that you've worked so hard to protect.
Hell yes.
I do want to ask you about
the blow-up.
I want to ask you about this blow-up between President Trump and Elon Musk, the world's richest man, the president of the United States, trading insults online, kind of like teenagers. According to the Washington Post, there was an argument earlier this year between Musk and the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Literally came to blows. It had to be broken up. Are the men leading our country letting their emotions get in the way of governing?
Well, first of all, Dana, as a former professional fighter, I've learned a long time ago, don't get between two fighters. The fact is we're focused on passing this bill, and the American people elected President Trump and put the Republican people in place to move our country forward and get away from the disastrous policies of the Biden administration and move forward. That's what we're focused on.
So
don't
get in the way. You're not picking sides?
Run a rabbit trail. We're going to be focused on it.
Sorry? I mean, Dana, it's pretty obvious he's picking the side of Donald Trump. He's focused on getting the bill passed. That's something that Elon Musk has come out against. If he says the bill getting passed is priority, he's saying fuck Elon Musk. I mean, is it not?
Don't get in the way. You're not picking sides?
President Trump is a friend of mine, but I don't need to get. I can have friends that have disagreements, but here's what I do know.
But he can't piss off Elon Musk because he's a probable donor.
My wife and I dearly love each other, and every now and then, well, actually, quite often, sometimes she disagrees with me. But that doesn't mean that we can't stay focused on what's best for our family. Right now, there may be a disagreement, but we're laser focused on what's best for the American people.
Okay, Senator, thank you so much. We're out of time. I appreciate you being on with me this morning.
Thank you for having me on.
What a little worm.